Hi guys, so in this video, I just wanted to share a shrooms journey that I had some months ago. I just want to start by saying that anytime that I participate in plant medicine, I only do it when I feel called to do it, and I do not do it for any type of recreational purposes at all. So during this particular time, I felt called to go on this shrooms journey simply because I was going through a big transition in my life. This particular journey I took by myself. I was in my own living space and it was an amazing experience. It felt very blissful and it was filled with love. And I had some high frequency healing music playing in the background, and it was just a really good experience overall. So the trip itself, I'll say it took place in like this vast space of creation. I would say it was the quantum field. It was like dark, but I was able to see lots of colors, like bright, vibrant colors whenever I would like see images or visions of certain things. So it was like in this vast space of creation. And if the trip itself, like all of the information that came through, like it just felt so neutral, as if there is really no right or wrong. Everything just is. So the main theme of this journey was the art of letting go. And it's really interesting because a few weeks before I went on this journey, I actually created a video um, just talking about knowing when to let go. And during this journey, I got questions answered to information that I was curious about for myself going through my transitional period. And also, like at the beginning of the journey, they were showing me, and when I say they, I'm just referring to spirit. They were showing me like a bunch of different times in my life where I had impacted someone's life in a positive way. They were basically saying that the world needs more love, kindness, and compassion. And then they also stated that we need to open up our hearts and be more loving towards one another. After that, they were, now I will say, for a moment during that trip at the beginning, I was questioning if I was even having an experience. It's like I knew I was having one, but I had questioned it because a lot of the information that was coming through, it was like information that I already knew and heard before. And I was like, am I having an experience because I already know this stuff? But, and it was coming through on repeat, like, it was like the same statement was like repeated multiple times, but I understand why. So in hindsight, looking back at it, I was able to understand that it's not about if I know something or I heard it before. The key to learning is repetition. So although you may know something, although you may heard it, it's like, do you really understand it on a deep level? Are you practicing this thing on a deep level? And things like that. So, and I also believe that it was like preparing me for certain things that were going to transpire in my reality. So, they were basically showing me how or telling me about how our outer world is literally just a reflection of our inner world. And they were saying that us humans, we are mirror reflections of one another. Like everything and everyone is a mirror. And then they were telling me about how we all serve as teachers for one another to grow. And they were saying that some experiences may be unpleasant, some may even be painful, but it initiates growth within us. So it does serve a good purpose. And also, they were just saying, like, the people who cause like the most pain in our lives, like those are the people who we really need to thank, because that caused the most growth within us. So while we like to sit there and view those people as villains, they really helped us out in a big way, whether we realize it or not, or whether we want to acknowledge it or not. And they were saying that when we choose to hold on to things that we need to let go of, it causes blockages in our flow of energy and ailments within our bodies. And then at one point, I started laughing. It was like I was receiving information, but I was speaking the words as well. So I started laughing, and they were like, you humans are so silly. And they were laughing at the fact that we choose to hold on to negative experiences, thinking that we are protecting ourselves. But in reality, we are holding those things hostage and causing issues within ourselves. So they had gave me like 3 steps to learning how to release things that we don't need to hold on to. And they were saying that whenever we have experiences, the only thing that we're supposed to do is take the lesson out of it, or challenging experiences. We're supposed to just take the lesson out of it, allow ourselves to grow from it, and release the experience. Like, there's no need to hold on to the experience itself. It happened, it's done, and we got what we needed out of it. Other than that, at some point in the journey, I kept seeing like my old self. It was almost as if I was rebirthing a new me. Like my old self was dying, and I was continuously rebirthing a new me. And every time, like this part was on repeat. So every time I saw myself rebirthing, I was like blooming into a sunflower. And then sometimes it was a colorful butterfly, but I just kept blooming and growing and blossoming and just rebirthing myself. And during that process, I was also able to see how we go through cycles, just like how nature does. So, at one point during my journey, I went to the bathroom. And as I was washing my hands, I was looking at myself in the mirror, and I saw my face, or my head, like shape shifting. So, my head had got really small, and my eyes had appeared to get really big, and it was like a triangular shape, like wide at the bottom, wide at the top, and then pointy at the bottom. It was like my face was shaped like a mantis face, but like my skin color and everything else was still the same. And it was interesting that that had happened, because like a week or two prior to me going on that shrooms journey, there was one particular day where I was just having a hard time like understanding like what I was feeling that day. And I was like a little emotional. When I got home, I had saw like this big praying mantis on my sliding door window. And as soon as I saw it, I just started crying, because like I knew there was some significance to it, like that day. And it just stayed on my window for like hours until it was time for me to go back to work. So actually, whenever I had left out to go back to work, the same praying mantis that was up on my sliding door window, he was then in the middle of the walkway leading to my car. He just stayed in his meditative state. He was so unbothered. He didn't move. He stayed there literally for hours, because he was still there whenever I came back home from work as well. And I actually have a picture of it, so I'm going to make sure I insert that in the video. During that journey, like just being in that um, vast space of creation, which is also like the quantum field, it helped me to see like, or it was just this feeling and like this knowing that like this reality is not as real as we think it is. Like this is just something that was created by all of our combined thoughts. And it felt like that vast space, it felt like that is the real world, and like this is like the fake world, if that makes any sense. And another thing that they did say was that it's important for all of us to rise above like the constructs of this reality and realize that we have the ability to create whatever we choose for ourselves. And the very last thing is that the next day, like, it was so challenging for me to settle back into like this dense reality, because I feel like that journey itself, it was so high vibrational, it was so blissful. The next day when I had to go back to work, I just felt so disconnected, and it only lasted for that day. Like, when I was at home I felt fine, but when I was at work I just felt like I was there, but I just wasn't there. But after that day, everything was back to normal. But that's the end of my journey. Thank you so much for watching, and have a beautiful day.